Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope you're all doing well. So, a subscriber was asking if I would talk about some of my experiences in boxing, um, or he wanted to know if I had any stories that I could tell you that would be of any entertainment, any interest. And there's a couple, to be honest with you guys, there's a couple of things that I could tell you um, about the boxing and the MMA. Now, there's no point me really going over any of the fights that I had because they didn't last very long. I was lucky in the fact that I knocked all of my opponents out um, in in the first round. Like, I think out of all my fights, I think only one of them got to the second round. They were all done by that point. So there's not really much to say about the actual fights. They were really easy for me. But I do have a story about a particular sparring session which turned into a fight, and it remains to this day the hardest sparring session. In fact, the hardest fight that I've ever been in. Period. Um, it was such a tough fight that it had me questioning if I ever wanted to come back to the gym, if I ever even wanted to lace on a pair of gloves ever again. So I wanted to tell you about this particular story because I tell it to everybody when people ask me questions about some of the sparring experiences that I've had, guys. Because of some of you may know or may not know, I used to go around the country sparring guys, getting them ready for the Olympics, and also getting guys ready for championship fights. Some of these guys went on to become world champions. Some of them went on to win medals in the Olympics. If you want to know who they are, guys, drop me a comment below, and yeah, I can give you some names of some of the guys that I've worked with over the years. So anyway, going back to when I was 18, 19 years old, I will have been a middleweight, so I would have been 160 pounds. I turn up at the gym one day and my coach asks me to spar with this random guy that I've never seen before. And when I get a look at this guy, he just looked like a bum, alright? He just looked like a homeless guy, and he was a homeless guy. He was older than me, smaller than me, wearing a pair of jeans that looked like they'd never been washed. His t-shirt had rips in it, looked like it was covered in bird shit, and his trainers were old and scraggy, looked like they'd been dragged through mud. And yeah, my coach wanted me to spar with him, and I couldn't understand why. So at the time, I was saying, "Well, he's not even wearing any boxing gear. You know, what's the crack with this whole thing?" And my coach just kept saying, "No, no, just trust me. Just get in the ring, spar a couple of rounds with him, and let me know what you think." So I said, yeah, fair enough. I'll spar with him because I used to love sparring, guys. I used to spar 5 days a week. Anybody I could get my hands on, from lightweight to heavyweight, I didn't really care. I would spar anybody. So this guy was going to be no different. So we agreed to not wear headgear, all right, and but we'd wear 16-ounce boxing gloves. So I get in the ring. He stood at one end of the ring, and I'm at the other corner of the ring. And I could just smell this overwhelming alcohol. All right, this guy stank of alcohol, and I kept thinking, Jesus, this guy, like, he needs to have a wash. He absolutely reeked. And I'm looking at him thinking, this guy's got no chance. There's no way in hell this guy's gonna last a minute with me in this ring. And back then, guys, my attitude was just to knock everybody out. Like, that was just my attitude. It was a bad attitude, but it's just the way that I was. Alright, always needed to prove something to people, and I always wanted to impress. So I always needed to go out with a bang, and the best way to do that always seemed to be knocking people out. Alright, if you want to get people talking, knock people out. It works. So yeah, the bell goes for round one. Ding, ding, ding. Me and this guy meet in the centre of the ring, right? And it took about 10 seconds, guys. This guy hit me with a jab to the body, threw this huge right hand over the top, hit me on the temple, boom. My legs just went to jelly. I fell back against the ring aprons, and this guy started to let loose. I mean, every angle you could think of a punch coming at, he threw it. Hooks, uppercuts, everything, slamming me to the body. He even headbutted me a few times, guys. He was a pretty mean little guy. And I had to really open up on him to get him to back up, because he was just trying to kill me in there. And I couldn't see them. I couldn't even see where the punches were coming from, because they were so fast and they were thudding me so hard that I could not collect my thoughts, guys. I couldn't get in the moment, so to speak. So I had to open up on him, right? And I got him to back up. By this point, he'd already bust both my nostrils. He'd cut the inside of my mouth. My lips were bleeding. He'd actually cut my eye in the corner. And I already had knuckle welts appearing on my forehead. And he'd been slamming away at me for about a minute into round one. So we're stood in the middle of the ring and we're just going at it, back and forth. I'm throwing everything I can throw at this guy. He's throwing everything he can throw at me. By this point, the whole gym is watching the sparring session. Everybody's just thinking, what the hell is going on? And yeah, we're going at it. Anyway, it gets to the end of round one. Ding, ding, ding. So I go wobbling over into the corner, like grasping away at the water bottle, trying to get the water, right? Gasping for breath. And this guy walks over to the ring ropes, gets through the ring ropes, pushes open the fire exit door, takes a packet of cigarettes off the shelf, lights a cigarette and begins to... Right, this guy's puffing on a cigarette while we're having the 1 minute break. And I'm stood there thinking, what the hell is going on? Like, how can this guy be puffing on a cigarette after he's just whooped the hell out of me for 3 minutes? This guy beat my ass for 3 minutes and he's just there like relaxed as hell, puffing on a cigarette out the fire exit door. So he stubs his cigarette out on the wall, puts the half of it on the windowsill. He slides back through the ropes and he looks over at me and he says, "Come on, big man, let's go again." So round two, ding, ding, ding. We go at it in the centre of the ring. No clinching, no holding, no nothing. Just absolutely laying into each other, hell for leather, just trying to knock each other out. Honestly, guys, it's like something out of a movie. I've never ever gone at somebody like I went at him, and I've never had somebody go at me the way that he went at me. He was punching me like he wanted to kill me, and my arms were going numb because it was hitting my biceps, it was hitting my shoulders, it was hitting me in the neck, it was just hitting me everywhere, guys. And the guy could really punch. He had speed, he had volume, and his stamina was just ridiculous. Like, the guy just never stopped punching. So we get to the end of round two, ding, ding, ding. I wobble back to the corner. He goes and slips his head through the ropes, pushes the fire exit door open, starts puffing on another cigarette, right? Stubs his cigarette out, puts it on the windowsill, crawls back through the ropes, and again, he's just like, right, come on, man, last round, let's have it. So in the third round, guys, we meet again in the middle, ding, 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 and we're smacking away at each other. The punches are flying left, right, and centre. What happened is, guys, we both threw a left hook at the same time, alright? So I cocked a left hook, he cocked a left hook, and at the same time he hit me, I also hit him. But mine was a little bit more accurate and a bit harder, and it actually dropped him on his ass. And I remember thinking, yes, I've got him, I've got this guy, I put him on his ass. He ain't getting back up after that, because when I hit him, guys, the guy's head, literally, it nearly spun off. The punch was that hard. So he falls down on his ass, and within 2 seconds, he jumps back to his feet, and he ran at me, alright? And I kid you not, guys, like, my insides almost fell out my ass. All of a sudden, all this fear just erupted in me, and I just froze. I just literally froze on the spot, and I tensed up, and he just went at me like a bat out of hell. Boom, 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 was just covering up, just wailing the shots, taking it, trying to duck, trying to weave, trying to roll with the shots, trying to cover. And yeah, we were just going at it back and forth all the way to the final bell. And let me tell you guys, when I heard that final bell, ding, 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 I was like the happiest guy in the world. I climbed out the ring. He went straight out the fire exit to smoke another cigarette. Like, he just didn't even care. He just went straight out the fire exit, puffed on a cigarette. I was sat on the ring apron and my coach was wiping my face down with a towel. And he was saying, look, Tom, I think you better go to the hospital because your face is a bit of a mess. But I was too tough, right? I was thinking, nah, man, I'm just going to go home. I'll be fine. Didn't even bother saying bye to the guy that just gave me the hardest fight that I'd ever had in my life, the hardest sparring session that I've ever had in my life. I thought, yeah, bollocks to you, mate, I'm out of here. I don't want to see you ever again. So I go home and I couldn't sleep that night, guys. And I've got to be honest, he really made me question whether I ever wanted to box again, because I just did not ever want to experience that kind of feeling ever again, guys. So I was kind of like, do you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to step foot in the gym again. I don't ever want to lace up a pair of gloves ever again. This guy has just beat the boxing right out of me. And eventually I fell asleep and I woke up the next day and my mother couldn't even recognise what I looked like. She was saying, look, you need to go to the hospital because your face is just a mess. I had concussion. I was vomiting in the toilet. But I managed to drink plenty of water and kind of bring myself around. But I had two big black eyes, guys. My nose was swollen. I couldn't chew any food because all the inside of my mouth was cut to shreds. I couldn't hear anything. Yeah, guys, I was pretty beat up. Probably the most beat up I've ever been. But something made me go back to the gym the next day. I needed to just turn up at the gym. I knew that I was in no fit state to spar. But I wanted to make this guy believe that I was ready to go and spar with him again, that I wanted to get back in the ring with him, that I needed to prove my macho-ness to him. So the next day, guys, I walk into the gym, and the second I walk through the gym door, he's at the back of the gym, and he shouts me over. He went, hey, Brick, the Brick, come here. And I'm saying, Brick? Why is he calling me the Brick? Anyway, I get over to him, and he went, hey, listen, man, I got a new nickname for you. And I'm saying, yeah, what's that? He says, I'm going to call you the Brick. That's your new nickname. And obviously I said, well, why the hell are you calling me the Brick? And he said, because every time I hit you, man, it was like punching a brick wall. Honestly, man, every time I hit you, it was like hitting a brick wall. And I said to him, so we're going to spar, I want to spar with you again. And he laughed at me and he said, look, man, you're in no fit state to spar. He was saying, I don't want to spar with you again. And he was adamant about that. But he was like, look, man, you're a tough guy. I respect you for coming back and wanting to jump in that ring again. It says a lot about your character. It says a lot about the type of person that you are. And anyway, guys, it became this thing when whenever I entered the gym, I would always say to him, come on, man, are we going to spar? I want to spar with you again. Or he would say to me, are you ready for another arse whooping? And I would say, yeah, but are you going to have a wash this time? And he would burst out laughing, and he would just get on with his own business, guys. But what's interesting about this guy is that he was homeless, he was an alcoholic, he was a drug addict, and the guy used to smoke cigarettes like they were going out of fashion. Had the worst diet I've ever seen in my life, and he used to sleep in the gym because my coach used to train him at one point, because believe it or not, he was actually an Olympic hopeful, but some kind of injury to his back retired him from the sport of boxing. I believe his parents, they died in an accident. He went into a downward spiral of depression, and obviously, guys, that became the course of his life, the drugs, the alcohol, and whatnot. So the coach had a deal where he was allowed to sleep in the gym if he cleaned the gym. So they bought him like a fold out mattress, and he was allowed to clean the gym and sleep in the gym as long as he behaved himself and he didn't do any drugs in the gym, guys. But it's crazy because I mean I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and running 5 days a week, 6-7 mile. I was training 2-3 times a day. I was living the boxing lifestyle. Yet here you had a guy who was no longer competitive, didn't care about boxing anymore. All he cared about was smoking and drink. Yet he could step in the ring with anybody and put them on their ass and give them hell. He gave me hell for 3 minutes. He made me question myself on whether I ever wanted to box ever again. Now, I sometimes came to the gym and I would watch this guy sparring heavyweights. Now, he was a welterweight. I was a middleweight when we sparred. And I would watch him sparring heavyweights, guys, and I would watch him knock these guys out cold. Boom. Okay. Bang. One big right hand. These heavyweights, light heavyweights, they would go to sleep. It was amazing to watch. This guy had it all. He had world-class talent. But obviously for him, it was just not meant to be. So, and you know, guys, you hear of stories like this a lot in boxing. There's a lot of people out there you never hear about that had the talent, had the ability to go to the top, but for whatever reason, they got sidetracked and it wasn't meant to be. You know, some of the greatest fighters that ever lived had serious addiction problems. You know, you had guys like Carlos Monzon, possibly the greatest middleweight to ever live, guys, was an alcoholic. Used to smoke 100 cigarettes a day. They used to have to cut him down to 50 cigarettes a day whilst he was in training just to keep him happy. And this is a guy that used to smoke cigarettes whilst he was on his daily runs. Crazy, but the guy had unlimited stamina. He was what you call a clutch fighter. As the rounds went on, he could just go into that next gear and just up the pressure, up the pace, up the power. Just a freak of nature, guys. But his lifestyle was crazy, and the fact that he could fight 15 rounds like it was nothing, just incredible stuff. You had a guy called Nicolino Loche, who was an amazing defensive fighter, one of the greatest defensive fighters that ever lived. Again, alcohol, cigarettes in abundance, but again didn't seem to affect his stamina in the ring. You had guys like Joe Frazier, who was an alcoholic throughout most of his career. Again, it didn't affect his performance. Bob Foster, who was a close friend of Joe Frazier, once had an interview where he spoke about Joe Frazier's drinking problem and that Joe could drink a full bottle of liquor before going to the gym to do 15 rounds with top competition, and he was whooping these guys' asses left, right and centre. And Bob Foster would say to him, you know, how the hell do you do it, man? How the hell do you drink a full bottle of liquor and turn up at the gym and put a beating on these young cats? And Joe Frazier would just reply, it's all in here, man. It's all in your head. So, yeah, just something for you to think about there, guys. Don't ever judge a book by its cover. Never, ever do that. You never know who that man is standing across from you in the street, in the ring. You've got to be careful. But yeah, guys, I thought you might enjoy that story. I thought you might find that entertaining. Still to this day, I've never taken an arse whooping like I got that day in the gym. He beat the hell out of me, guys. He made me question whether I ever wanted to step foot in a boxing gym ever again. I don't believe he's alive anymore, sadly. I think he passed away not too long ago. But yeah, there you have it, guys. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a like, drop me a comment below. If there's anything you want to ask me, guys, I'll be sure to get back to you. Yeah, there you have it, guys. Listen, have yourselves a nice weekend. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll see you next video. All the best, guys. Take care.